So here is the part 2 of your server pools concept in 11G. As of now, we have added a server pool with the name SP1 and SP2. If you want to delete them, you could run CRSCTL delete, which I believe I have already deleted. Let's add it one more time and then delete it. So to add it, you can say CRSCTL add server pool SP1 followed by attributes. If you no longer need that server pool, you can delete it. Server pools can also be added using srvctl command. I am printing the manual of it. So this is srvctl command. So there is a way to add a server pool using srvctl as well. I'm just checking through the manual. So here's the one to which will help you modify a pool, and here's the one that will help you add a pool. So I'm going to add a server pool this time using this option. Followed by the server list if you want to mention. So I am creating a server pool with minimum size as 1, maximum size as 1, importance as 100. Clear? Using this option. You can also check the configuration of your pool, or you can modify the definition later, or you could remove it using these options of srvctl. So if I want to see the definition of my pool, it's srvctl config srv pool -g. So it's printing me the pool definition of my server pool SP1 with its attributes. As of now, there are no candidate servers which are part of this pool. I can see the status of service pools, all of them. You can see in free there are 0, in generic there are 3, and in service pool 1 as of now there are 0 servers. I am trying to remove my server pool. This time I would add it explicitly with the list of servers that I want to be part of this server pool. And if the servers are not available, it will -n server list, which seems to be correct. So this time I have added the servers explicitly, saying for my server pool SP1 there are 2 servers, beta and gamma. You can retrieve the definition of it. It will say which are the candidate servers. If I launch DBCA, To create a database, I should be able to see my server pool if I want to create policy managed database. See here, it's showing this time the name of my server pool SP1. I'm going back, select configure database option to list out my databases which are both admin managed as of now. I'm coming out of this one. I already talked about deleting a server pool, obtaining the status of each of those servers where they belong to. Although in this case using CRSCTL I cannot see my server pool that I have defined as long as those admin managed databases are there. You could also add a server pool. See here, at a later stage I am adding server pool name child. Here explicitly I am saying parent pool is SP1. So you must create the parent pool, then you add a child to it, explicitly mentioning the attribute as parent underscore pool is equal to name of your parent pool, followed by the status to CRSCTL status of the server to show to which particular server pool your server belongs to. There's another interesting configuration where you can switch between admin managed databases and policy managed databases. As of now both of them are admin managed. I am stopping the database RADDB, and I would try to convert it from admin managed to policy managed using the server pool that we have created earlier. The server pool that I created earlier, I am going to remove it and reconfigure it with 3 servers so that all our instances can then be managed across all the participating servers. So I am going to remove the server pool that I configured and I would reconfigure it this time with minimum 1, maximum 3, importance as high as say 1000 with some name, explicitly mentioning the name of the servers. So I am stopping the database. In the meanwhile, let me open another session. So I have removed the server pool. I would add it one more time. With the maximum value of 3, importance as 100, followed by the node list. I would check the status of my server pools. I could see there's a server pool SP1 now with a relative importance of 100, minimum 1 node, maximum 3, and I explicitly listed the names of the nodes which must be allocated to this pool. My database is down now. I want to modify it from admin managed database, which I could see from here, that my database is administrator managed. I would try to configure it on the server pool SP1. I want to obtain the information about this database now. See the last line. It's now a policy managed database. Clear? I would launch DBCA to check whether it picks up the new settings. See here now, it's being indicated as a policy managed database, which we have verified using this command. Let me try to start this database now. I'm getting back to our discussion on parent and child pools. So child pools can indeed be created by mentioning the attribute parent underscore pools. Remember, I talked about exclusive server list option that only applies for child pools. Otherwise, top level pools are mutually exclusive amongst themselves. Now, another important discussion is how the available servers are added to the different server pools. The allocation of the servers hosts is going to happen in the following order. First, all of them are part of generic pool if generic pool exists. I told you, if your database was created with admin managed policies, if you are upgraded from the earlier version of Oracle to 11g R2, you will have generic pool. Then if there are explicitly created pools like SP1, then the servers would be allocated to those pools. If there aren't any more pools left but there are still free hosts, they will all end up into free pool. Clear? So all of the others remaining ones will go to the free pool. Oracle would keep on adding the host to a server pools as long as they have not been equal to the value of mean size and max size based on the importance value assigned to that pool. So Oracle would keep on adding servers. Now this applies to whom, as I said, where you have not cherry picked the servers. So if you have not cherry picked the servers, that means from the available lot of all the free servers, I must be getting a couple of them. So which one of them? That depends on the importance of your server pool, that depends on the minimum value, and that depends on the maximum value of that pool. Oracle will keep on adding until the group has minimum number of servers defined. Clear? How long? Until it attains max servers. With what importance, precedence, that depends on the relative importance of that server pool, the one that we are talking about. The hosts are going to be added exclusively to the pools. Exclusively to the pools. Remember, I am talking about top level pools. The host added to one server pool won't be shared with other pools. The host can be shared by child pools provided that there is no exclusive pools value set. So host within a child pool is okay. It can be shared, but the same server cannot be shared across multiple top level server pools. There are two styles of managing the database starting from 11g now. To incorporate the usage of server pools, there is a change introduced in the database itself. From 11.2 onwards, there are two different ways of managing a database: admin managed and policy managed. That's what I have shown you using DBCA. Choosing either one would make use of the server pools, though it would vary whether those server pools would be explicitly created by you और बाय डिफॉल्ट दे आर अवेलेबल एज अ जेनेरिक पूल. तो पूल्स तो दोनों सूरतों में यूज होते हैं. एडमिन मैनेज है तो जेनेरिक पूल यूज होगा. इफ यू आर सिलेक्टिंग पॉलिसी बेस्ड मैनेजमेंट स्टाइल ऑफ 11.2, then in that case it will prompt you to create a server pool. Admin managed style, this is a sort of the same as traditional database type, where a DBA is responsible to manage the allocation of resources and instances explicitly on the available instances, and also the instances on those respective nodes. So there is a hard coding which instances will run on this machine, so it's fixed. Instance cannot migrate a machine. If my RADDB1 runs on alpha now, forever it will run on RACDB, that on alpha node. There is no way my instance will switch from one node to another. It's a Tenji style. But services were created. So services used to specify which instances would participate in a given service, where the role of a given instance could either be that of a preferred instance or that of an available instance. This database would assign the instances to the child pool of the default available generic pool. That's what we said. If you create a database of the type admin managed one, then it will be treated as a sub pool, child pool of your generic pool. Having the generic pool as the parent, no modifications of the child pools of the admin managed database instances would be allowed for a DBA to be done by their self. Depending on the number of the nodes being chosen initially for the database, the instances would be started on each one of them. So there is a hard-coded binding between the instance and the machine on which that instance runs. If my RACDB1 was configured to run on alpha, it will forever run on alpha. That dependency is not there in server pools. So Oracle, from the available set of 20 servers, will at random select 4 servers, will add it to my pool. I don't know which 4 servers it has selected. My instances will automatically start on them. So I don't know which instance is running where until I look at CRS-CTL status output. That is what is policy based management. By default, with a fresh installation of 11G release to rack, all the nodes would get added to the generic pool, and in the upgrade scenario as well, all the nodes of the previous version will be added to the generic pool. Although this type seems to be much simpler, and like the older versions and techniques of managing the instances, this can't be used when the number of nodes pass a number which is difficult to manage by a DBA. So for larger clusters, it adds more pain to manage all of them. In such cases, one may adopt policy based management. In policy managed databases, this type of database administration is meant to make DBA's life simpler by not letting them worry about managing each of their instances on each node individually, but to use a server pool to manage the instances. By using server pools, the administrative tasks to manage the database becomes much simple. So there is no control on with the DBA which instance will run where. All nodes are of equal calibration. Some of them will become part of your pool. That depends on the importance of the pool. So as and when the nodes are starting from generic pool, they will be added to your pool. Once minimum number is met, maximum number is met, automatically instances will be started on them. So there is no hard coding between the node and the instance then. That is what we call it as grid configuration. So grid configuration is all about whatever runs wherever. We don't care as long as it runs. So as long as the service is available, we are not worried about where it is running. And for an end user, does it matter where my service is running? It really doesn't matter. The user connects using scan listeners. Scan listeners could be wherever. Scan listeners at any given point in time knows which instance is running on which server pool on which server. So for an end user, it is really immaterial whether my instance runs on server 1, server 10 or server 20, as long as it is running. Oracle will automatically and transparently manage the cardinality of your service. Cardinality is the number of servers that needs to be alive in a given server pool. A server pool is only considered when minimum numbers of servers are available. Only then it will be treated as a valid server pool for service migration. So here database has now been migrated from admin managed to policy managed, and it is running on, see where, instance RACDB3 is running on Gamma. Why is that? I never mentioned only start it on Gamma. That depends on the cardinality of the server pool. What is the minimum value I mentioned? The minimum value of that server pool I mentioned was 1. Clear? That's why only one instance is started. Now I check the status of the instance itself. See what it says? Invalid instance name RACDB1. Getting my point? So now you no longer have the control of saying my instance is RACDB1, it runs on alpha, it's RACDB2, it runs on beta. Depending on the server pool configuration, anywhere the server can be brought up, the instance can be brought up. That depends on the cardinality. Which one? Yes. But was this underscore earlier? I have that configuration here. Was that underscore initially? So now it no longer allows you to manage it. It simply says I will manage now onwards. Now why it only brought one instance? That is because my minimum cardinality for that server pool is 1. So it's now being transparently managed by Oracle. It will ensure that the service is up and running. My instance, my database rather, is running on Gamma. What if Gamma goes down? I am trying to bring down the Gamma node. In the meanwhile, I will also run through the configuration. srvctl config database -d RACDB. Do you see by any chance this was my earlier output? This was my admin managed policies, and this is the output of my policy managed configurations. Database is policy managed, database was administrator managed. Database instances. Clear? So it will all automatically be managed by Oracle now going forward. Now I am going to shut down the Gamma node. Assuming it's going for an abrupt shutdown. And I would like to see what happens to my policy managed database now. See here, the node is going down. So I am assuming one of the node which was participating in the server pool has gone down. Unfortunately, that was also the node where my instance was running. Now it says it's not running as of now. If I say srvctl start database -d RACDB or be patient until it brings it up, I am checking. It says Aura RACDB cannot be placed on any online server that satisfies placement policy. Hard coded, probably. Let's look into it. It says I couldn't place it anywhere. I want to check why. it says database is not running. I am planning to get it up. Somehow it is still showing me an error saying failed to start resource something. The server pools where resource could run have no servers available in it. I don't know why it is saying so, because I explicitly assigned servers to it. So it says the server pool where resource ORARACDB could run have no servers. Let's check CRSCTL output. All of them are reportedly showing as down. I want to use srvctl command to query my server pool. It says minimum 1, maximum 3 candidate for placement. Clear? So the problem here is maximum number is not met. So the server pool is not considered for shipping the services on it. So let's modify the server pool's definition. I have modified minimum and maximum. Minimum is anyways intact. Maximum only value I have changed from 3 to 2. Let me try to start the database and see if it still complains about it. It still says could run could the server pool where resources should run have no servers available in it. I need to check further why is it complaining, because as per our understanding the resource should be brought up successfully, because server pool is still valid, because I have qualified on minimum clause, I have qualified on maximum clause as well. So it should have allowed my resource to start up wherever. But the version that I am using still is 11.2.0.2 with lot of bugs open. So I will research this, will get back to you why it was not allowing us a migration. As of now, the server pool is eligible for resource migration. Still somehow it is saying there aren't enough servers available, but there are indeed enough servers available. Out of the 3, I have only restarted 1, so 2 is still available. Minimum is met, maximum is also met. So it should have allowed us to do a service migration of that particular instance. There may be open bugs, I don't know. I will validate it against Metalink and check if there are any patches available or is this a correct behavior. But for me, this is not the correct behavior. I am starting up the Gamma node again. And would wait until the node joins in the cluster. For some reason it's not showing active server. See here, for some reason. That's probably why it's unable to ID. That's why probably it was showing us that there is no server available in the server pool. Now this could very well be a bug. That's not for I was looking into the output of SP1 server pool 1. So there are no active servers listed against server pool 1 is what is my doubt, why it is complaining. So it says these are the servers configured, but active servers are not listed, which is why I suspect that's why the database is not starting elsewhere. I am checking the status of my cluster. Gamma node is up and running now. Let's check the status of the server pools one more time. I am interested. See here now. Clear? So it has automatically been adjusted to include gamma now for some reason, but it was not able to detect alpha and beta somehow. Now if I say srvctl start database, it says database was already running. I tried starting, so it has by the time it started and started the database as well. I am confirming, is that true? So it has automatically started it on there. So need to understand why it never managed to detect alpha and beta as valid nodes. The service should have considered this as a valid server pool because I reduced the maximum value to 2. I told you the minimum value is minimum number of servers need to be present. Maximum value restricts it to no more servers can be added to that server pool. So when both the values were satisfying, why it didn't fail over onto alpha and beta? Otherwise, in an idealistic situation, assuming that we are not encountering any bug here, the service should have been started elsewhere automatically by Oracle. It's not happening somehow in this case. Using the same logic, I am trying to stop my database RACDB wheresoever it is running. No. You cannot. I am checking srvctl modify database -h. I want to translate this database to, instead of going for admin managed, I want to make it instead of going for policy managed, I want to make it as admin managed. So I'm checking srvctl modify database -d -n -o -u -e server list. That's not for that one. That's for whether or not you want to start the database automatically or manually. Server pool, there is no way you can convert it back to admin manage. Where? Force the modify operation to change management policy of all the services to match the new management to new database management policy. Let's try this. I am checking one more time the config. Database is still reportedly shown as policy managed. Let me try to add instances, or let's try doing with -f. That's what was your argument with -f. It's still reportedly shown as a policy managed. Let me try to add instances manually. Clear? So it says database RACDB is policy managed and does not support add instance option. So I want to check if there is any way, by the way, where we can change it from policy managed to admin managed. Let's see. No, there is certainly a way. I am checking whether it's modification possible. If not, I can always remove the database and add it back as if it's a admin managed. I can always say srvctl remove database -d. Now I will say srvctl add database -d racdb -o oracle home So I can always remove and add it, but there is no way on the fly I can modify it. Now I can always add back the instances. That's fine. Back to normal. Now I said start up the database. It should ideally bring up all the instances on all the nodes. So on the fly, there is a possibility where you can where you can change from admin managed to policy managed. There is no way I could see where it allows you the same modification in a reverse order where I want to change from policy managed to admin managed. But there is indeed a way where I can change it by removing, by re-adding. I got some error here. Failed to start RACDB something encountered instance number parameter not specified. That's probably the problem is with my parameter file. Very bad thing to happen. Archives are going to my default location. Just wanted to confirm why it said. So see here, for the instance which was made policy managed, it has done some changes to my SP file. All other things looks okay to me except for those parameters which shouldn't, I don't think that they would be causing any problem, but I just want to get rid of them as well. All of the other ones looking fine. So this looks okay. I wanted to check now what was the error that it has thrown earlier. It says failed to start the resource Aura RACDB. The resource action start encountered the following error: instance number parameter not specified, to which I do not agree, because I could see there was indeed an instance name there. Anyways, I have modified the P file. I want to check where exactly it is encountering with that issue. And this was encountered for beta and gamma, not for alpha. So I should have checked it on beta and gamma, not here. It faced that problem on beta and gamma. I don't know. Here there is no problem when I started it manually. But this problem can be rectified for sure. The only thing I need to check is which SP file exactly it's trying to refer to. I am checking which SP file it was referring to, and as of now I don't see any discrepancy. Instance numbers are indeed mentioned. So everything looks okay to me. This also looks good. This also looks okay. I want to check then where is the problem. So they are indeed referring to the same SP file which I have updated in the srvctl command. Somehow it was still not able to, somehow it was still complaining, saying in the SP file I couldn't find whatever, what it was not able to find. instance number parameter. Let me remove the server pool. And reattempt the startup. It should start just like that. If there are any discrepancies, that can be fixed. It still complains about the same, saying start of RACDB has failed, instance number parameter not specified. Let me check from beta. Is it having the same problem here? Let me remove and re-add it. I also think the same now. Some typo might have created this problem. I am saying srvctl config database -d RACDB. The problem is with the instance names. So we know now. So there is no need for me to remove the database. I will simply remove instances and will add it back with the correct names this time. It should just come up on its own without any modification. That's why it was trying to look up for a parameter RACBD1 dot instance number, but we had RACDB1 dot instance number. I hope this time it is correct. Now I said srvctl start database -d RACDB. The instance name this time are correct. Once done, we'll quickly validate. it's still showing one of the instances which was from the policy managed configuration. We may have to remove it. So now it's up and running. Barring this one, which is because of the policy managed configuration, other things looks to be working fine. You can remove that instance manually. So that's it from the server pool discussion. It is mainly useful when you are using a larger cluster, and manually organizing those services with hard-code instance naming style is quite way too difficult to manage. In that case, you can use server pools. Server pool is relatively a new concept. Stability may be an issue. We have already encountered one problem where when one gamma node was down, it didn't report alpha and beta to be the probable candidates, and that's why it couldn't bring up that service. So it's always good to be on the latest patch set, latest PSU level. That way it will ensure that we don't face any abnormalities than the one product features which are documented by Oracle. I haven't seen so far any cluster which uses server pools. All of them are tiny clusters. At the max 4 node cluster that I have seen till today. It's better to manage all those tiny clusters manually than to venture into server pools. Clear? So I will put a pause on this second part of this video.